Good evening and welcome to the February 3rd City Council meeting for Angels Camp. We're going to start with roll call, please.
Councilmember Vito.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shementon.
Present.
Mayor Sharado.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Brolio.
Present.
Please rise for your pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're starting this evening with a presentation on Caltrans SR State Route 49 and 4 roundabouts. Corey Casey, hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Corey Casey. I'm the Office Chief for Project Management at Caltrans. I manage all the projects in the northern half of our district, which is Merced, Stanislaus, San Joaquin, Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tolman, and Mariposa counties. And then I manage all the projects in the northern half. So I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk to you about our mobility project that we have on 49 and 4. Recently, if you're not familiar with the project, the purpose of the project was to improve mobility on State Route 49 through that corridor. And it starts at 4 and 49 and then it goes down to Francis Street. And we were proposing to install 2 roundabouts, one at 4 and 49 and another at 49 and Francis Street. But unfortunately, so we were at about our 95% plans and specifications, but there's been a shortfall in the state budget. And so because of that, we're actually going to be shelving this project. And so the purpose of me coming here today is just give you an update on why we're shelving it and then field any questions that you may have. So there was a statewide budget shortfall that affected almost 440 projects statewide. For the most part, a lot of those projects were just pressed out and their schedules were adjusted and changed, but there was a lot of projects that were shelved. In our district, we're shelving 3 projects, and I'll tell you kind of the criteria of why we chose those 3. But really, it's not in our budget to fund and move forward with those projects and due to our priorities. So what we did is we looked at our portfolio of projects that we're doing over the next 8 years, and we prioritized our safety projects as number 1. So we're moving forward with all of our safety projects. And then 2, we're moving forward like addressing the needs of what we call our primary assets. So that would be like pavement, culverts, guardrail, those features. So, this project, the 4 and 49 project, it's a mobility project. And so the mobility, we prioritized that last. We had 2 mobility projects that we shelved. We only had 2 in our portfolio, and we shelved both of them. The other one was in Merced County, and then we also shelved a large electrical project that we had in San Joaquin County. And so the project, it's basically on hold, and we don't have at this point an anticipated date to start work on that again. So I would say that it's not canceled, but it's not actively moving forward for this foreseeable future. So I'm happy to recognize like this is probably an important project to the community, and this might come with some frustration, but I'm here to answer any questions that you guys may have.
I think it was a project that had mixed reviews.
Yeah, I would think that as well. We did a lot of public outreach up here, and it definitely had nothing to do with our decision, but we had a lot of this project had a lot of public scrutiny, more so than I've seen on any other roundabout project that I've ever worked on in our history.
So I'm concerned about the fact that the project's not canceled, it's in limbo. And you've got property owners all around that place that are now affected. Basically, I don't know what I can do with my property for 8 years, 12 years, what do we do? So how is that fair? How do we address the property owners' questions when it comes to this?
So there was very little, only most of the property, the impacts to the private property owners was just temporary. So we had the majority of all of the impacts throughout that corridor was temporary construction easements, but we did have 3 takes, what we would call partial takes of properties. And so we had no full takes. We weren't planning on purchasing the entire property, just small portions of each property. So there are 3 that potentially could be impacted, but at this point we have we're shelving the project and we're not moving forward. So I would say that we did our best through our design to minimize the impacts to all 3 properties. So I think we did a fairly good job of doing that. We met with those 3 property owners and they seemed to be on board with what we were proposing.
So Corey, will there be something going out to the public now that this project has been shelved? Because I know some of the folks were concerned about the status of the project and how it was going to move forward, especially those maybe impacted even with just using their property for construction.
Yes, absolutely. We could do a press release if you guys would like that, and we can put out, and we can update our website.
Sure.
So we have all of our projects on our website. We can update our website, let everybody know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm with Caroline. It was a mixed emotion. You had people that love roundabouts and people that, I don't know. So it was a mixed bag of emotions, but I was really looking forward to being able to put something in the center of that made our town our town. At least from what I remember was we were going to be able to put something in the middle that gave directions to downtown or up the corridor, different things. But there could have been a really cool thing in the middle of that made an entrance into our town. So, but thank you very much. And the outreach programs and all the stuff, you guys were awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, no, I just, I've been going to Groveland quite frequently, and I'm using a roundabout by Chicken Ranch, and it is painless. It really is. It's amazing. Big trucks navigate through it, and the flow of traffic, it's almost easier to deal with than the stoplights further up the highway. So
They are, I mean, from an operations standpoint, right, and safety standpoint, really, and they're far superior to a signal. And so we do like to utilize them, especially on our safety projects. We were talking earlier, we've never had a fatality on a Caltrans constructed roundabout statewide. And so we choose, like I was mentioning, we're prioritizing our safety projects. If we have an intersection control improvement project that we're doing for safety, we'll try to go with the roundabout if possible, because it does perform very well safety-wise. It completely eliminates the broadside collisions, which are the worst collisions that you can have in an intersection. So I know they're challenging sometimes for the public to accept and use, but they really do perform very well, and they perform for a long time. And you can put a tremendous amount more traffic through a roundabout than you can with a signal. So the lifespan of the facility is much longer than it would be for a signal. So and it's a good option for this community as well, because you're very constricted, right, by all the development that comes around, and it's all historic development a lot for the most case, right? And to put a larger signal in there, it would require taking some of that space, a lot more than what we would need, and we'd have to expand that intersection out and take some of those facilities that are old and have been a part of this community forever. So,
Anyone from the community want to?
Yeah, my general comments, and I know roundabouts from back east.
You gotta hop up here. Oh, if you want public
Because
comment, you
they
gotta
can't
hop up.
see, they can't hear you.
Go to the
so-
microphone.
I just have a general comment on the roundabout, is that it's, the location of this one doesn't make it, to me, a very good candidate. We have a crosswalk that goes across there to let people get across. It's very hard to do when you put a roundabout in there, to have foot traffic go through a roundabout. Everyone's going distracted with other cars, and you can't have foot traffic going across. So you'd have to put some sort of gateway over there, some kind of traffic way for pedestrian traffic to get over to that side. So that's one of, and we have these logging trucks that come through here, all through downtown, and you have that roundabout right in the middle. They'll be driving right through it. We've seen in Pleasanton, they put a roundabout in on the road that goes out to the golf course, and the fire trucks, when there was a fire, they busted right through the thing. They ended up taking it out. They got rid of it. So some places, they work good, you got big space, you got just freeway traffic or something, works good. That's just my comment.
Thank you.
Susan Morse, I live in Angels Camp. I'm happy to hear this, and the reason I'm happy to hear is I attended those meetings back when you were presenting it. I think you people were presenting it, and the big concern that I have and had and still have and hope we don't do this, is there was really no consideration for the kids from the high school, and I don't think that Mark Twain Elementary walked down that far, but walking down 49, getting to 4, they're on their phone looking down, right, waiting for the traffic light, going to McDonald's and coming back. And I went through it with, it wasn't you, I don't think it was you, you talked at the meetings. I went through it with them and I said, well, what about the kids? Because they were going to take out the traffic light, no lights. So they have to go to the middle, look left, look right, very dangerous. And I was told at that time, it wasn't about safety, it was about calming the traffic. And we need to pay attention to our kids here in this community. So that's something that, you know, I think this might be a very good idea, and whatever we do here, we got to think about the kids and so forth. Thank you.
My name is Mike Fish. In 2015, I brought this to the same when you guys were talking about this. I brought this up to the board. Why not take that section out of the expressway? The piece from the foundry up to the stoplight. If you did that, if you took it out of the expressway in that section, you can enter through the foundry lane access. And then you could get into that shopping center. That whole piece could be developed still. Because all you'd have to do is extend the turning lane down. Slow the traffic down instead from 45 to 40 down to 30. Slow the traffic down that way instead of putting a roundabout in. Has anybody taken that out of the expressway to do that? I brought this up in 2015 about the same issues. So that's a question that I've asked and asked and asked again about the expressway. Put it in where that double gate is. You have access to the property. All you have to do is extend the turning lane down. Now for the roundabout piece, okay, you put a roundabout in, great. How are you going to get a 130-foot extended lowboy through there when he has to make a turn? That's a good question. You take somebody like Sutton, Alvin, you know that. He's got an extended lowboy and he's got that weight on there, 120,000 pounds. How's he going to make that? That's not going to be good. You know, all the log trucks, and they come through there, not the log trucks but per se, but their equipment that they haul up and down. They're on extended lowboys. They're 120 feet long, 130 feet long. Can they make that round?
Yeah.
They can eat safely?
They can.
Without impeding,
Yeah.
without impeding other
So they'll
traffic?
have to take the lane, have to take both lanes, but they can use the.
So you're impeding?
Yeah. But it's
You
designed
have
for
a
that.
commercial,
It's
you have a commercial truck impeding in
designed-
traffic.
It's designed for that way, for them to take the lane, and they can absolutely do it.
So you're saying when the commercial cops come up there and he says,
Allowed to do it per vehicle code, yes.
per vehicle code?
Yes.
I'd like to see that vehicle code,
Okay.
because that, I don't see that one. Yep.
I can talk about roundabouts all day, but I mean, we're not moving forward with the project, so.
No, it's just,
Right. I mean, that was essentially that's what it is. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Mike Fullaway, property owner on Highway 49. First of all, I want to say thank you to you. You have been a pleasure to deal with. My question is different, though. I'm here tonight to hear about our sidewalk project. Can you speak to that or not speak to that?
I have an update on that, yeah, what would you guys like to know, just kind of current status?
Current status, and then where I'm concerned, or at least I want to understand, what are we doing with the balance of the sidewalks all the way up to the intersection? Are we moving forward with that, or is that being also canceled?
Say that again, the what?
The sidewalk project going all the way up to the corner,
of 4 and 49, that was the intent of the sidewalks. I just want to know if that's moving forward or if that's
Portion of
being,
the roundabout project that was addressing the sidewalks,
right.
yeah, that, at the moment, that is not on hold, so we'll have to fund that through a future project.
Okay, so, because yeah, you have in front of the lumberyard and all the way down there, it was
Right.
going to be sidewalks.
Right.
That was my main reason for seeing you here tonight.
Yeah, so, I don't know, fortunately.
I'll go sit down and shut up.
Unfortunately, yeah, so they're, right, so, this project, right, is in construction right now, we're full short, so we won't have everything, there was sidewalks planned all the way right through Francis Street, so with this project, so, moving forward, we'll recognize that there is a gap, we do have, other, goals, that's one of our statewide goals is complete street elements and sidewalks, and so, like I said, we are focusing on pavement, culverts, bridges, and our shop cycles. But if we, moving forward, we'll also identify that gap. And if there's an opportunity, we do have a pavement anchor project that's coming through Calaveras that's scheduled to go to construction in 2031. There might be an opportunity to address that gap in that project at that time, but there will be a gap, absolutely. There will be.
So how far will the sidewalks be?
So it goes just to the shopping center.
Where it's existing now.
It's existing now.
And then, so there won't be from Save Mart to the 49 intersection, that will no longer be done, which the one side's already done.
Which one is it?
Right, the one side's done. And then there was also the plan to go from the intersection all the way down to Capello Drive. Is that now nixed all the way to Capello Drive?
Yeah, all that was associated with the.
That was all associated with the Francis Street roundabout and everything else there.
Since this is so far out, is there a possibility that we can, like,
Get
try
it sooner.
to at least the sidewalk piece?
We're
of
locked
that?
in for, so our projects are funded and every 2 years we package up a portfolio of projects and they're programmed into the shop. That's our main funding program. So our 2026 shop is being adopted in March and that's locked down. And our 2028 shop is already basically
Right.
filled out. So our next opportunity to look at projects would be our 2030 shop, so even fund another project, so.
So I got one more. So I guess my next question would be, since we're 95, I think you said like 95% there on that project now,
Yeah,
does that put us in the queue for 2030 projects that we're dang near there, that you can pull it off the shelf and shove it back in?
I think
Does
that's an
that help?
opportunity. It does help, like especially for that, like pavement acre project, because the design work and drainage systems were already done.
They're already
right?
engineered
It's
and-
already
right.
engineered, all the drainage work, everything is already done, and so it can be easily adapted to the existing, what we have existing, so that's something I can go back and we can look at and take a look at.
I mean, even if the roundabouts don't come, could we
Yeah.
break off that section of
Yeah.
getting the side curb gutter sidewalks,
It's definitely something we can
safety,
look at.
that aspect done?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially with that new subdivision opening in there.
Right, yeah, we'll look at that,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments online?
No comments.
All right, thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda as posted or amended. Do we have anything, Steve, that you need to make any adjustments to?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have one item. I call it a green sheet, although it's printed on white paper. I printed it for you guys as additional information on item 6D, but the agenda itself, I have no recommendations to change.
Okay. Does anybody on council have anything?
Can we move item 6A into the consent items?
I would, yes, I would very much like that to happen. That should have been done. That was an oversight. Item 6A is a low or no cost, not expecting.
Just a closeout?
Yes, it's just a closeout, so thank you for the suggestion. If we can move 6A to the consent. And I would also note that our attorney, Will Krieger, is participating online, and I did communicate with him by phone that he can hear and respond to us as needed.
Great.
Madam Mayor, our closeout people, when we went through our audit, asked that we do a quick run-through of what we did for the grant and at least allow questions before we went ahead and closed it out, so.
Okay, we'll both make consent.
Okay, so as of right now, so 6A will remain under action items.
Yes.
Okay.
I will make
Anyone from the public have any changes or to the agenda? Hearing none.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
We have a first and second roll call.
Behill,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Sharada.
Aye.
Scott. Aye. Correa.
Great. Next is public comment. The public may address the city council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on a subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes per person. And can I make a verification that someone is actually timing the comments, please? Someone do that?
I am.
Perfect, thank you. So Michelle will let you know if you go over your time. Any public comments?
Good evening. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. I will now summarize my 6 appearances before the Angels Camp City Council since October 2023. The Calaveras Visitors Bureau is not a nonprofit association, and it has not been a nonprofit association since April 2000, at which time it incorporated as a public benefit nonprofit corporation. 21 years later, effective July 12, 2021, the CVB converted its legal entity type with the State Attorney General's Office and Secretary of State's Office from a public benefit nonprofit corporation to a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation. It is alleged that the CVB, falsely identifying itself as a nonprofit association, again committed fraudulent misrepresentation of its legal entity type by executing the amended agreement for the promotion of tourism with the City of Angels Camp, a municipal corporation, on January 3rd, 2023. The Cities of Angels Camp subsequently misplaced that signed and executed amended January 3rd, 2023 agreement for the promotion of tourism with the CVB, and due to its continuing inability to locate the missing contract, the city's attorney, Whitebrenner LLC, was required to recreate the document to obtain the required signatures digitally in September 2023. It is alleged that the CVB is legally a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation and continuously deceived the public for 3 years, from July 2021 to July 2024, as evidenced by having displayed defunct bylaws on its website during that time, purporting those invalid bylaws to be current. On January 6, 2026, CVB Executive Director Martin Huberty, who also serves as Calaveras County District 3 Supervisor, presented to you a tourism status report, long on activities but short on results. At that time, I asked, why and for what benefit did the CVB change its legal designation from a public benefit nonprofit corporation to a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation in July 2021? That and my other questions remain unanswered by Mr. Huberty. 10 days after Huberty's January 6, 2026 CVB tourism status presentation, the Calaveras Enterprise published what is arguably a propaganda piece written by Calaveras Visitors Bureau Board of Directors member Tori James without any disclosure of her relationship and evident conflict of interest, favoring the CVB in clear violation of the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics for conflicts of interest. My January 20th, 2026 email requesting comment and clarification from Calaveras Enterprise owner, editor, publisher Carissa Davidson, and the request that Tori James resign from the CVB Board of Directors remains unanswered. Since 2019, nearly $600,000 in Angels Camp transient occupancy taxes and nearly $2.3 million in county transient occupancy taxes, totaling $2.9 million, has funded the arguably anemic tourism promotion results from the CVB, while county tourism employment is hemorrhaging. Calaveras County's staggering combined loss of 420 tourism jobs and a reported loss of $4.6 million in direct tourism earnings are glaring when reviewing the corresponding 2023 and 2024 Visit California annual reports. A tax-exempt organization complaint referral was submitted to the IRS on July 22, 2025, seeking investigation to corroborate allegations of the CVB's misuse and abuse of its tax-exempt 501c6 status as a precursor to revocation of the CVB's tax-exempt status for persistently and willfully violating the laws and rules governing mutual benefit nonprofit corporations. My allegations of negligence, intentional misrepresentation, and incompetence and malpractice by the City of Angels Camp Legal Counsel, Whitebrenner LLP, should be of grave concern to the City Council. I'll conclude tonight's remarks with a definition of the term moral hazard and specifically how it applies to local government. Moral hazard is an economic concept describing a situation where one party takes on excessive risk or acts irresponsibly because another party bears consequences of those actions. It occurs when an entity is insulated from risk, such as through insurance or government bailouts, often resulting in increased harmful behavior. What I've described here this evening equates to the definition of moral hazard. My name is Christopher Butner, publisher of Calaveras2026election.com. Good evening.
Any other?
Again, I'm Mike Fish, and I was going through a bunch of things for the Angels Camp Police Department and the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department, and your guys' budgets, and I'm really disappointed in your guys' pay for the Angels Camp Police Department. You guys say you mirror yourself to the county. Well, I'm going to use this one for an example here. A sergeant of Angels Camp Police Department, basic, no, just basic, no endorsements, is $37.98 an hour, okay? The same one for Calaveras County Sheriff's Department is $41. That's almost $10 an hour difference, okay? You guys seem to be, the City of Angels seems to keep losing police department, the police officers. For the simple reason is because, and you can't blame the officers, because they're bettering themselves, they're moving on to better pay. So my suggestion would be for you guys to reallocate. I know their negotiations are coming up for that, and they're probably in it now, they're due in June. I would highly recommend that you guys bring your pay scale to the same as the county for the officers. And on top of that, I would suggest that you sign a 5-year contract for the new recruits, because that's guaranteeing you 5 years for them to be here. What are you shaking your head for now?
Oh, I'm just listening.
Oh. So if you could do that, that would be awesome, because that would keep your police department here. You're already losing officers. You're down what? Down 4? 5? 4. You're down to 4 officers. So you think about that. You got 2 sergeants, or a new recruit, and an officer. Okay? That's playing havoc on those guys. That's running them 24/7. That's not good. You have 2 sergeants, one's on duty, one's off duty. Okay? What happens when they have to have an incident where they need more? They're waiting on Calaveras County Sheriff's Department to back up. Where are they at? They 30, 40 minutes out? That's not right. That's not fair to your officers. That's not fair to them at all. We are a city. We have an entity here. Protect our officers. Get more officers and get those people paid correctly. Because if you look at their MOUs, which is on your guys' website for them, Calaveras County's MOUs, and your budgeting, you guys have the money for the budgeting to pay those officers what they deserve. Because I'll tell you what, they go through hell. Thanks.
Any other public comment? Any comments online? No. All right, moving on to consent items. We have one item on consent. Do we have any public comment on the consent item on our minutes from January 20th? Any online? Nothing online. All right, can we get a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a first and a second. Roll call.
Beagle.
Aye.
Shalente.
Aye.
Sharada.
Aye.
Scott. Aye. Romeo.
Aye.
Item 6A, Resolution 2623, Combined Closeout for Community Development Block Grants 20-CDBG-CV1-0016. CB2/3-00247 and CB2/3-00262 for the Utica Park kitchen, bathroom, generator, signs, and related. Amy.
Mayor and council members, we got COVID monies through community development block grants. We upgraded the Utica Park kitchen. We purchased the 2-stall bathroom, a generator for the kitchen, and message signs. And we were just asking if anybody in public has any questions, or if you had any questions, and if not, then we will go ahead and close out those grants.
It says that we have to hold a public hearing, so after
Yes.
staff asks questions, okay. Okay.
Do we have any questions?
Amy, how much involvement did the playground committee have in deciding this grant? Was there any?
No, because it was equipment for the kitchen,
Okay.
things like freezers and baking goods.
So that had to go, and then hopefully, now, have we ever heard from about the PG&E grant that you applied for also?
We got it and spent it for the park.
For the park, so, I mean, wasn't it
There was one for the kitchen.
One
that
for the
you're
kitchen.
referring to.
for as an emergency
Oh,
thing?
no, we did not
did
get
not
that
get
one.
that.
No, we
Okay.
didn't, yeah.
Okay,
We got the lighting.
we got the lighting, yeah.
Any other comments from council? Any from the public?
Yeah, I just have a quick question on COVID money being spent on that. I just don't understand the
Connection?
thanks.
So, as you know, during the public safety power shutoff, that was used as the community center where people went when there was no electricity. So basically, that's been designated as a site where you would go in an emergency. So upgrading the kitchen is so that, the main emphasis is so that we could do community meals in an emergency if necessary.
Any questions online?
No questions.
Okay. Hearing none, let's bring it back. I guess we'll just do a
So
recommendation.
did you open
Is that what you
public
wanna
hearing
do?
though?
It says
Yeah,
recommend,
what's the
hold a
public-
public hearing and approve resolution 2623.
I don't see a public.
But it wasn't,
It was on the agenda.
So
are you going to bring it back
Yeah.
as a public hearing?
You would say, you open the public hearing.
Okay, we're going to
Open
go
the
ahead,
public
okay,
hearing.
so we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing.
Anybody
Anyone want to,
For or against?
or against this?
Now closed.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to council.
And then resolution 26.
And I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2623.
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Aye.
Shemente?
Aye.
Sharado?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Grolier?
Aye.
Okay, item 6B, resolution 26-22, Eureka Oaks subdivision map improvement agreement, and resolution 26-01, Eureka Oaks final subdivision map. Amy.
Mayor and council members, we're finally here. This is to record the final map for Eureka Oaks so that they can start pulling building permits. Yay. We do ask that you, in considering this, would first pass resolution 2622, the subdivision map improvement agreement, and then 2601, the final map, only because the final map resolution references the fact that you've passed the subdivision agreement. We'll be bonding for the lift station and some fairly minor things like striping the roads, but otherwise they are ready to go. And we're all very excited and be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So Amy, it says that some items, including an off-site pedestrian walkway and fair share payment for a pedestrian crossing over SR 49 are not required until prior issuance of a certificate of occupancy.
Yes, I did better in English than you might have thought, but I should have used the word across and not over.
Okay.
That crosses, and that will be done at the time Foundry Lane would ultimately come through. There would be
Okay.
a pedestrian crossing there. In the interim, they are paying a fair share amount towards that's been established through a traffic study.
So we're not doing an overpass.
No.
So will a crosswalk be installed then?
Yes, once Foundry Lane is in. That's actually in the North Angels Main Street plan.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Is that normal to approve the map before the bond approval, all that stuff?
We have the bond.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is required in the subdivision agreement. And in fact, that's what you're doing first. You're approving the bond and everything, and then the final map.
Michelle, can you show the map?
The subdivision, yeah. Here it comes. It'll come.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is great. 5 years later. 5 years we're doing it.
Thank you, Scott.
Is there any public comment? Oh.
Thank you.
I'm excited about this item.
Has everyone asked their questions from council?
Well, let's just make
I'm
sure that
found my eye.
you're on the maps, that they're just so big that you
Yeah,
can't
they're big.
see. Oh,
Oh, there they.
Here in the room.
I just have a quick one about crossing the road there again. Is that what you were saying? I'm Lance from Queen Anne Creek, but again, that's you're gonna put another crosswalk down on Foundry Lane as that goes across. Are you putting a light there? Another traffic light? Or what's gonna prevent someone from getting mowed down there on that? Other than some speed signs, speeds would have to be reduced way ahead of time. Is that what the plan is then, to put a crosswalk going across and over into the other side, which doesn't exist yet?
Right.
Wow,
So,
that's dangerous.
so you have the one at the light going over to the shopping center. Is there any thought of a crosswalk or something, or a walkway going down the side of Ford, or is that too dangerous? But I don't know how you get pedestrian kids across that. It's a pretty wide roadway area there. It's not short. It's so either you need a light where they can push a button and have time to get across, or something. I don't know how you do it. I just a
Amy, did you want to
comment.
address that?
Sure. Basically, we have a Main Street plan that it's not just a crosswalk. There's also a transit center there. And
Right.
yes, it would be likely something where you could do a button, strobe lights, that type of thing to make it safe. We will not put it in it. It's not safe. And Boundary Lane isn't there. It won't be there for several years. So this isn't something that's coming soon to our neighborhood, but is fairly well into the future. And I'd be happy to have you look at our North Main Street plan. It has a lot of improvements in addition to the crosswalk, yes.
And any crosswalk is safer than none.
I don't know. Do you think you're gonna be safe?
You think you're gonna stop a kid from crossing the street?
Do we have any other public comment in the room?
There's one online.
There's one online, okay.
Hello, my name is Tim Sheehan. I'm one of the owners of the property that Foundry Lane is supposedly planned to go across. It is a private property. So where Miners Road comes out of this neighborhood, that's going on to private property that has not been approved or anything. So just a reminder that you do have property rights. So that has not been done. So Foundry's Lane is not happening on my watch going through that property if I'm the owner.
Oh, yes, there is. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
There. Can you guys hear me? Great. I just wanted to apologize. Normally I would be here. I'm triple booked. I'm actually at the Capitol right now doing advocacy for affordable housing. And then we also, as someone on City Council mentioned, most of my crew is over at Miners Lounge. So feel free to go join them afterwards if you'd like to. But I am completely thrilled to be at this stage and very excited. And so I just wanted to thank each of you for your support, both staff and city council, for helping us get to this point. It's very exciting.
Tim, thank you for your comment, and I'm sure someone will be in touch with you on that. Okay, so do we have any other public comment before we move back to council? Okay. Go ahead.
Are we moving 2 resolutions?
It looks like we are moving to, yeah.
So in that case, I'd like to move resolutions 2622 and 2601, approving the subdivision map improvement agreement and the final subdivision map after 5 years.
I'll second it. Because I'm excited to get some above ground stuff going. Hopefully some local businesses get some stuff out of it too. So lumber packages and stuff. So that's great.
Hill.
Aye.
Shemente.
Aye.
Sharado.
Aye.
Scott. Aye. Rovio.
Aye.
Go get them, Morgan.
If there's any young kids, I'd go apply for a house and see if you can get a loan in there too. So.
You're too young, peanuts.
Yeah, you guys can't do it yet.
All right, moving on to 6C, Resolution 26-24, adopt CalPERS 457 plan. Michelle.
We may see that there. And I also have Michael Kizek from Goya Financial, who manages the CalPERS plan online.
Okay.
He's connected to participate and answer any questions, but I've had several employees come to me over the last 6 months asking if we offer a 457 plan through CalPERS. We currently do through Corbridge, and it was Valak before, and now it's Corbridge. We've had low participation, just a few employees. We have a hard time getting a hold of them, having them return our calls to get employees signed up, and then our current, I think, representative is new to us. We lost the other one, and so it hasn't been a positive relationship. But the nice part is, I decided to reach out to CalPERS to see what they offer and how we could offer something more to employees. We can actually offer both plans to the employees. This is nothing that the city contributes to. It's 100% employee contribution. They pay all the fees. The nice part about CalPERS is they actually take more of the management part on for managing the plan. We just need to take the payroll deductions and submit them to CalPERS. So it's already set up to do that for our Corbridge Valak plan. So we would just need to set up another item that we could. And so I would like to, if the city does move forward with adding a second plan, to also promote this at our next employee event, have somebody come out to speak to the employees along with some of the other benefits, and kind of make it like a benefits fair so people can understand what the city offers. Because we have an EAT program, we have a short-term disability, we have all these different plans, and they're very low utilization, and I think it's the education of the employees. One of the nice parts about when I was speaking with Michael about CalPERS is that it's more affordable to the employees. They offer lower fees to administer the plan for them, much lower than the private for Corbridge or Valak. And then, like I said, most of it is all paid for, or it doesn't, additional cost to the city. But I'm going to let Michael add to what I was talking about. he?
Yeah, thank you. And again, my name is Mike Klesick or Michael Klesick. If you have any questions regarding the program, I'd be happy to answer those. But as Michelle mentioned, the plan is there is no cost to have it set up for participants or employees to utilize, to contribute to. It is 100% voluntary, and all the assets that get put in by that employee into the plan is 100% theirs. It's held in a separate trust individually for each and every participant that utilizes the 457 plan, completely separate from the pension or anything else, because the investments that are selected from their fund performance lineup is completely different as far as how the allocations go. So again, it's a nice plan from the difference of Core Bridge, which is going to be much less expensive. Our fees range between 0.19 up to 0.32, so a little bit less than 1/3 of 1% on an annual basis. To put that in real terms, if you have $1,000 on an annual basis in your plan and you're at a 0.20%, you're looking at $2 on an annual basis that gets charged to the participant, or basically out of the investment that they are participating in. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you have anything further, but yes, it could be a great question. It's pre-tax dollars. It can be also post-tax dollars. So a Roth 457, the contribution limits, basically whether you use one side or the other side or the combination of the two, there is one maximum amount, which is like if you're under 50 is 24,500. The limits just went up, and I want to say the other 50 plus is 32,500 something. So yes, they can participate in either side or both. You're welcome.
Employee sponsored 100%, and when employee retires, leaves, whatever, that we don't have anything to pick up as the city. It's all on the employee and the entire time. I just want
That's 100% correct.
Perfect. That's just what I wanted. Awesome. Thank you.
Michael, is there
Absolutely.
Is there any guarantee for growth? Do you, because you're managing their funds, is there a standard or?
No, there's no guarantee because it's all market predicated.
Okay.
There is a what's called a short-term investment fund, which is more like an interest-bearing account where they can just earn interest on the account. Like capital preservation, really just to outpace inflation or try to at least meet inflation aspects. Otherwise, they're all variable investments. So the majority of our core funds are invested in what are called target date funds. So they're predicated on someone's retirement date. They get more conservative automatically. They have 6 other index funds to choose from. And if they really want to go above and beyond it, if you want some more kind of like a guarantee investment, we also have a relationship with Charles Schwab, which they would open up like a sidecar in a sense, in which they would have access to all the investments that Schwab has. So they have 8,500 different mutual funds. They have CDs. You can invest in, bonds, corporate bonds, things of that nature. So you can, relatively speaking, protect your assets from that aspect.
Thank you.
So I have more of a comment. It's no secret to most that I'm pretty distrustful of CalPERS. I'm not sure that they always invest for the best return on investment. It seems like they have protections in place, and if they fall short on their goals, that's when the cities come in our case, and pay the difference. So they have a couple $1 million in unfunded liabilities. I'm not going to, I don't want to prevent any employee from doing what they want to do, so I'll be supporting this, but I do want to suggest that we put some kind of a disclosure or some kind of something to encourage employees to explore other options. You mentioned Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab is, you can do a lot of this stuff for free. And maybe not have your money tied up for so long. I don't know about the tax advantages. I'm not an expert in this area, but I do know that it would behoove the employees to research before they sign up for something like this, especially given that our employees pay into CalPERS and into Social Security. So that's probably one reason why this is such an unused benefit. So if we can go in eyes wide open, again, I'd like to see some kind of a brochure or disclosure or something that tells the employees check it out before you commit, and maybe have 1 or 2 or 3 different places they can call just to have a discussion with a financial expert. I'd feel a lot better about that. I don't want to set our employees up to do something that's not necessarily in their best interest because they don't know the difference. So that's what I've got to say.
So Michael, are you able to do something like that with the Charles Schwab information with our employees?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we have marketing information and brochures on every aspect, from the investment lineup, the core performance reports. You have a dedicated representative that are salaried employees. They're not commission oriented. They're really their education, help educate employees. They can give presentations. In general, what the 457 is, sit down with employees one-on-one. Obviously, if there is interest in the Schwab aspect of it, they can sit with them and tell them and how that works, and that we obviously tell them the understanding of that program and the differences between the core fund lineup with CalPERS and the Schwab aspect of it as well. So we do have all kinds of marketing material that people can really peruse through and make an educated decision on which way they would prefer to do that, or nothing at all for that matter. So, but yes, we definitely will give ample education to all the participants or employees, in person, via Zoom, Teams, whatever it needs to be, or the combination of the two. We'll definitely have people come out there and make sure that everyone understands the program from top to bottom.
So that's a sales, that would be a sales pitch, and I'd want to see a list of other independent financial advisors so they can compare your marketing materials to what an independent person might have, just so that our employees can be properly educated on the differences.
Well, as far as our program, I mean, the only thing we could talk to is about the CalPERS 457 program, but if the city would like to work together and say, hey, look, there are other financial advisors in the area or other companies, we could definitely put something together like that and work together.
So I guess that's my question, is like, are we gonna, I understand, I think I understand what this is. This 457 plan is just like, it's a 401k, or it's a high yield savings, or it's CDs. It's something that the employee can invest in on their own. You can go to Edward Jones, you can go to Amerifunds, you can go to any of those on their own. This is just another avenue for somebody to do it, whether they choose to do it with the city, or you can go see Tim
The
benefit is deferred compensation.
We will take the payroll deduction.
Right.
Pre-tax or depending on what
the
they
payroll
choose,
deduction.
and submit those payments for them, so that is one of the benefits by going through the employer.
Yeah, I'm sure there's trade-offs, there's benefits back and forth. The difference here, though, is CalPERS unilaterally makes plan decisions. They can change the plan anytime, they can change their fees anytime, they can change their reporting requirements anytime. They can invest it in a real estate building and do something no landlord would ever do. It has a 50-year payback, but because it's green, it's good. There's all kinds of things they can do with your money, and you're kind of stuck with it. Where if you invest on your own, again, just as long as we have a disclosure that says, please check out Fidelity, Schwab, Edward Jones, whoever it is, and talk to somebody else, and just so the employee knows they have choices and they don't have to put even more money into the CalPERS system.
Right.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about that.
No, I think that's a fair, just make sure everyone knows that they have choices and they're educated.
Right, because these are the current employees that
Agreed.
we're asking for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, any public comment on this? Any public comment online?
Yeah.
So bringing it back,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2624.
I'll second.
Beho,
Aye.
Shemente,
Aye.
Sharado,
aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Michael.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Moving on to 6D, Resolution 2625, approving agreement 2610 with Coneth Solutions for managed IT services. Steve.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you tonight is a request to consider an agreement between the City of Angels and Coneth Solutions. Coneth Solutions is currently the IT service provider for the City of Angels. The most recent agreement between the City of Angels and Coneth Solution was for a 3-year period of time, and it actually expired in August of 2025. So they have continued to serve the city despite being out of contract with the city since August of 2025 through now. We've since implemented a program just internally to do a better job of monitoring our contracts and agreements and expiration dates to make sure something like this doesn't happen again, where contract expires and nobody really knows that it expires until a staff member looks into it and discovers it. So, City of Angels has been satisfied with the service provided by Conna Solution, and there is a need for continuing these service. Just as a high-level summary, we don't have an internal IT department, so all of our computers and the MDTs, the mobile data terminals in the fire truck and in the police cars and the laptops and everything is managed by a third-party vendor called Conna Solutions. Staff noticed that the previous agreement, which was executed pursuant to an RFP, a request for proposals, in 2022, that agreement was awarded to Conna in August of 22, and it had an annual reoccurring cost of $69,744. When we got the current proposal for Conna, when we asked for a refreshed proposal, the fee has increased. The fee has increased from what was $69,744 per year to $95,400 per year. So staff contacted Conna and asked for an explanation of why there's such a big increase. It's only been 3 years. Why is it $25,000 more? And in those discussions with Conna and subsequent quasi-negotiations, they recognized that there was an error on their proposal that they initially gave to us, which is the item number 1 on your green sheet. It's a fairly minor error. They didn't account for about a $400 prepaid service that we've already accounted for. So that brings the annual amount down to from $7,950 per month to $7,552 per month. So in further trying to understand from Conna, still, why is there such a big increase? We learned that in 2022, when this agreement was executed, like most other IT third-party providers, and I did just off the cuff contact 2 others, their fees are based on the number of devices managed. So in 2022, the City of Angels had 40 devices that were managed by Conna. In 2023, I believe we added 5 additional devices. In 2024, I believe we added another 5. And in 2025, we added another 4. So it brings the total from what was 40 devices managed in 2022 to now we have 54 devices managed. And that accounts for the increase from what was 69,000 to now about 90,000, because we have about a 35% increase in managed devices over that 3-year period. And so the increased cost in services, while the device increased by 35%, the cost only increased by 30%. And when we dug a little further into that cost increase, we learned that their price to us per device has stayed the same. So in a 3-year period, they're proposing to not charge us any more now than what they charged us 3 years ago, which is pretty unheard of, to have to go 3 years and have no increase whatsoever. Again, the only increase is the fact that the cost of the number of devices that we have has increased. And I went through in the staff report and kind of broke down, in the proposal, there are 4 different categories of charges. The first category, which is $4,410 per month, is for their staff time. So what that gets us is Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. If I have a problem with my computer, or the newest employee in the city has a problem with some type of device, they can, for this fee, no additional cost, call up and Conna can remote into the computer, get into the settings, fix their email, whatever it is. That's the equivalent to staff time. So if we were, for example, to hire a full-time or a part-time staff person, that's what this $4,400 per month is. So $4,400 a month times 12, that's, you know, about $50,000 roughly. So I'm pretty confident that we can't get a full-time IT person for $50,000. We might be able to get a part-time somewhere around there, but that's just the staff. That doesn't include these other categories. The other categories are, we have 2 backup devices. We have a backup device in City Hall, and we have a backup device in the police department, and that backs up data every 4 hours, and there's a cost to that. It's a fairly minimal cost. It's only $770 per month for that, divided by 2 because we have 2 of them. So it's about $400 a month for those 2 devices to be backed up every 4 hours. The next category is security features. So we have the staff time, we have the backup, next is security. Their proposal is for us to pay $2,122 per month for antivirus protection, for firewalls, all the cybersecurity. You may have noticed they send us phishing emails where they will intentionally act like somebody from the outside to see if we're, and I did it, gullible enough to push the button, and and then now we have a virus on our computer. So all of that is included in that cost. And then the final thing is 24/7 support. So we have the option to add this or not add this. In the last agreement, we did add it, so we're recommending that we keep it. And what this 24/7 support is if we need their help outside of Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, we can call them. And there's an additional fee in addition to the $250, but the $250 just makes that service available to us for their hourly rate. I already talked about the number of devices in 2022 versus the number of devices now. Any questions about the pricing before I move on to a request to consider a change in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay. So we use a professional services template that's been vetted by our attorney, just as our standard agreement with all of our service providers, right? So in that standard template that we have, in section 3, which is the compensation section, it typically says the cost of this agreement will not exceed X dollars over the 3-year period, right? And will not exceed a different X dollars in any given fiscal year. Well, the problem with an agreement like this and language like that is there are additional costs. There are things like, we know what the reoccurring cost is going to be, right? They've already spelled it out for us. But if we need to buy another computer and have them program it for us, if we need to update our software, if a police officer can't log onto their computer at 5:01 p.m. outside of Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, they need to be able to call, that's going to be an additional charge. So in lieu of the standard language of total compensation not to exceed this, with an annual fee not to exceed this, I've proposed the language that should replace that in the compensation section. That's on your green sheet. Our city attorney has reviewed that language and concurs with the recommendation. Okay, so we talked about the cost, we talked about the compensation in change in the agreement. Alternatives to this, if you don't want to enter into a new 3-year agreement with Conniff, we have a couple of options. We can discontinue their services immediately, be without IT service, and immediately go out to bid, get 3 bids, and see what a better service option is. Highly recommend against that because we need our IT services. Option 2 would be in the original RFP that went out in 2022. It asked for a 3-year commitment with 2 1-year extension options at the discretion of the city. We can do that instead of a new 3-year agreement. Since that first 3 years expired in August of 25, we can treat August of 25 through August of 26 as year 1 and August of 26 through August of 27 year 2, and have this just be a 2-year extension that expires in August of 27. We can just do a 1-year extension starting in August of 25, which concludes in August of 26. and then go out to bid after that. Or we can enter into the new 3-year agreement.
What
So-
are the rates for that if we added, just went into an additional year or 2-year? Is it the same rate that they're proposing in the new contract anyway, or what does it
I
look like?
did not discuss
Okay.
with them if their rate would change if we don't commit to 3 years. So staff's recommendation is lock in the price that was existing 3 years ago. They're keeping it at the same price, lock that in for the next 3 years. There is a 15-day out clause, so we could do concurrent pass here. We could approve a 3-year agreement or a 2-year agreement or a 1-year agreement and still go out to bid. And if we find something that's better service for us, cheaper, there is a clause in the agreement that with 15 days notice, we can advise Connet that we're going with a different provider and go that way as well. So just another option for you to consider. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So staff is happy with the service being provided by Connet?
Yes. I will tell you, I spent 3 hours with them yesterday. They got my computer fixed quickly. And I did go online yesterday and looked at different prices and prices for our city and what they're providing. And they're kind of on a lower end for, like, price-wise, for the size of our area and what, like, with it being with the police department and here and then all of our devices. It seemed to me that it's fair, but on a lower end of fair. So it seems, and like I said, they were great at getting it fixed.
Sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. In the 2022, when that agreement was executed, there was a one-time $100,000 initiation fee. And that was in place to get Connet up to speed on our operations, do a complete assessment of our structure and organization, determine what is needed. So I would assume if we go out to bid and go with a provider other than Connet, there would be a like initiation fee basically charged to us. It may be more or less than 100, but just as an example, that was the fee 3 years ago to start an agreement with a new provider.
You know, I'm not sure you can find a IT person with salary and benefits for $90,000 a year.
No.
Well, full-time person.
No, in fact, I had asked Steve about a lot of these questions, and I said, you know, it's one of those things where you maybe reach out to your neighboring cities and see if you could share a position, but that's even hard, sharing one person with 2 cities like Sonora with as many devices are involved and all the layering, like the PDs and all of that it's just, it would need a team. And one of the questions I had, and then when I read the original proposal and I was looking at the math, I was like, the math is not mathing for me. So that's when I called him and we were running through the numbers and we realized, oh, there is an error here. So so it is a little bit better than I had initially thought, because my gut reaction was not great to this increase, but it's better, it's a little better now. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Right
I
now?
do.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a little uncomfortable with this because the extensions are something I didn't know about, so that's good that we have that flexibility. I'd like to know extending it at what rate. We have a $100,000 contract with a 30% increase, regardless of why. I think that should go to bid. To me, if you have a single source bid, it's because there's no other game in town, or you just know it's a great deal. I don't know anything about whether it's a good deal or not, and there are other games in town, I would think. So I'm a proponent. I don't have enough information to say for sure, but it seems to me like if we have to extend anything, if we can't go month to month or won't do what we've been doing since August, then I would probably look at a 1-year extension while we send out an RFP and bid this. Kind of a trust but verify thing. And I hope that, you know, Kara's right, that it's a reasonable deal and we go on from there, but I just need to kind of trust but verify. It's a big contract and it's a big increase.
But it's because we've increased the number of devices. That's one of
It
the
could be
reasons.
for whatever reason. I'm just not comfortable with a $100,000 contract that's a 30% increase.
I hear what you're saying.
Without the.
But if it's just a 15-day notification, we could give 3 years and give them 15 days and then walk away and still look at other firms.
Well, what if
So the length of the
they'll
contract.
extend a year at the current price or something different?
Sorry, one more comment. While the original agreement in 2022 did specify an annual amount, there is the next sentence of that says that it can be adjusted with the city manager's approval. There's some language similar to that. So it's not like we're going from 69,000 to 90,000. In fact, the bill we have incrementally increased every month as we have added more, we haven't added more computers every month. But for example, in 2022, when it started at $69,000 per year, the next year, when we added whatever it was, 6 more computers, it went up incrementally that much.
So we're already at this level.
As an example, this proposal is for $7,500 per month, roughly. Last month, we paid $7,200 per month. So we're already at that level and have been at that level despite what the agreement said in 2022, because the manager had the authority to add more devices, thereby increasing the monthly amount. So we're not going from 69,000 to 90,000, if that makes sense.
Well, thanks for the clarification.
It's all fine until you need one.
Yeah.
People put in a ticket and it takes forever at the county. Sometimes.
Any public comment? Any comments online?
No comments online.
Bringing it back to council.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2625.
I'll second.
She's quick.
I was actually going to make the motion. You beat me.
Behill,
Nay.
Shemente,
Aye.
Sharado,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Brolio.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 7A, informational items. The Form 700 due April 1st. Steve.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mayor, council members. Just another reminder, April 1st is the deadline for the FPPC Form 700 Declaration of Conflict of Interest. And that is all done online now. It's no longer filed with the city. It's filed from the member directly with the FPPC. And if you need help, I'd be happy to try to help you as much as I can.
I do have a favor. I dug through my emails. I don't see the email, or I missed it or something, or it got into, I even kind of perused through spam a little bit. I didn't go, but if you could resend that, or whoever send that, that would be wonderful.
And then, is it possible, I think I did it, and I think it said congratulations, it's done.
Notification.
You did, so I was saying, is there a way I can just confirm it to know for sure I did it with LAPCO and COG and did it right?
So I got an email confirming that you submit it, but I didn't open it and look at it. I will open it and look at it and then send you an email saying you're good.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, confirmation would be helpful.
Yeah, because it's nice to be able to add those committees and not fill them more out 13 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I did it right.
And then the nice thing is it holds it for next year. Then you can just go back and open it and make any changes. Moving on to, or anybody public comment on the 700 form? It's very exciting stuff. Okay. 8A, we've got the monthly update. And Steve?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Included in your council packet is the January issue of the monthly update council, starting with the significant ongoing projects being the Vallecito sewer line replacement. If you haven't heard, during the construction this morning, maybe this afternoon, I think it was this afternoon, most likely because of the vibrations of the construction, an existing water line burst. And we were able to, as a method of fixing that this morning or this afternoon, reconnect that burst line to the line that had just been replaced. And that saved us about $10,000 to $15,000 in repair costs, because it just so happened that the section of the line that burst was right next to one of the new sections we just put in, and so the guys were able to just tie it in, and that was good news. So that's the Vallecito sewer line project. That is expected to be complete in the second quarter of this year, followed by the East Angels sewer line. We want to probably wait until after Frog Jump happens to start that project, and that project should be completed in 2027. We heard about Eureka Oaks, the Habitat for Humanity 107 housing subdivision that is expected to be completed in 2027. I believe that the first houses, Amy's already gone, I believe that the first houses that will be available, it's going to go in phases, but the first houses should be available before the end of this year, is what we're told. So very happy to see that on track. You have your 12 months noteworthy activity on the first page, followed by a summary of what each of your departments has accomplished during this month. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about that.
You know, again, if we are posting this to the website, right, Michelle? Our 12-month noteworthy activity?
We are not, but I will.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because we don't celebrate enough everything that we are doing, and so that people can see the fact that we are moving forward in a positive direction.
That was a good suggestion to, I think Julie Douglas made it, to post it online and Facebook. I will make sure that gets done tomorrow.
She did.
My question might be a little premature, and if it is, just say I'll have that later. I'm just curious about what, if anything, is going on with our water study, looking for the redundant water supply. If you have any update, if you don't, that's all right, because I know it's early.
I don't, and Aaron was here today. I know that that maps have been created using the ground penetrating radar and other technology. That I did see a map at some point that shows what they thought was underground versus what this new technology shows is actually underground, and Aaron was encouraged by the findings, but I don't have any update beyond that.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, next item was the vacant building ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is being provided because at least one member of the public, since I've been back, and a council member at some point, asked me the status of our vacant building ordinance. So just to go back in history a little bit, in summary, in 2023, the city adopted the vacant building ordinance. That adopted ordinance is included in your agenda, just to remind what happened in 2023. In 2024, the city identified vacant buildings and sent letters to building owners. And vacant buildings, by the way, per this ordinance, is not restricted to downtown. It's citywide, and it's all commercial and industrial buildings within the city limits of Angels. So in 2024, the city identified all the vacant buildings in town and sent letters to the building owners notifying them of the new ordinance and the fact that they were in violation, along with information about how they can come into compliance. So that was 2024. 2025, last year, the city established a fee structure for the first year, the second year, the third, and subsequent years that a particular building might be in violation of this code. And we also continue to provide information and education to the building owners about the fact that this is here, we have a vacant building ordinance, but we're not in enforcement mode yet. It was just education. It's now 2026, and the city is ready to transition from education and information to enforcement. We have identified as recently as current as today, we thought let's make sure we have the problem identified before we move to enforcement mode. So we have confirmed that citywide, outside of downtown, there are 65 commercial buildings.
That are empty?
Just 65
total, okay.
Outside of downtown. Within the downtown zoned area, there are 33 commercial buildings. Citywide, there are 3 industrial buildings. So you add all those numbers together, we have about 100, I think it's 101, citywide commercial and industrial buildings. Of those 101 commercial and industrial buildings, outside of downtown, where there are 65 of them, 11 of them are vacant. And vacant, for our purposes, for staff just kind of spot checking, means a staff member has driven or walked by the building and there's no signs of anything happening. It's vacant, nothing in there, there's no movement, so on. So 11 vacant buildings not in downtown, Of the 33 downtown buildings, there are 10 that are vacant. So we have about a 30% vacancy rate downtown, which is not good, which is why we think it's about time. We've had this ordinance in place for a couple of years. We've done the education. It's time to transition from education and information to enforcement. There are no vacant industrial buildings. Of the 10 vacant buildings in the downtown zoned area, 3 of them are in compliance, meaning they're either in some stage of construction. Utica Hotel, for example, is a vacant building downtown that's not in violation because they have a current construction permit with us. And there are 2 buildings downtown that are vacant, but one of our requirements is that there's a sign in the window that says, "For sale, contact this person at this number." There are 2 of those buildings, which leaves 7 vacant buildings downtown that are in violation of this ordinance. So that's the update that I have for you today. Answer any questions that you have about it.
I do have a couple. One that I was going to ask was, how long does property have to be vacant before the ordinance applies?
I believe it's 60 days.
Yeah.
And then what triggers the enforcement? Is it complaint driven? Like you mentioned you guys going by, is it inspections? Like what triggers that?
Yeah, it's either one. If we get a complaint, we will go out and investigate. I'm going to task our code enforcement officer with, as time permits, this is one of the ordinance that he will go out and check to see if there are vacant buildings.
Do you know if there's been other small cities that have done the same type of thing and what their outcome was on it?
I don't know.
When we got the presentation, yes, there are quite a few cities that do this. But the fees were really, really high.
There were some that were crazy.
Really
high.
So did it
high.
help with the?
It does move the needle.
Yeah.
It does move the needle. I mean, I don't know what would move the needle here in this, downtown, but.
Yeah, this predated me, and I'm not a fan. Even the findings, it says the city council found that vacant commercial and industrial buildings are a major source of blight and health and safety problems in the city. So it lumps everything into one deal, and then it says particularly true when they fail to maintain or when unauthorized people are in there. And so if a landlord, it basically it lumps it. Everybody's under the same deal. It doesn't matter how well you keep your building. It doesn't matter what your situation is. If it's not for sale or if it's not occupied, it's a blight. And I just think it's wrong. In Pleasanton, I heard Alvin say Pleasanton. I grew up there. They have a Pleasanton Downtown Association that every downtown business pays a lot of money into, and they can enforce stuff like that. But it was all a decision of the business owners in town that came together and did that. So the private sector had some say. Here we're unilaterally saying you have to pay us a fine now as a hope that we do something for downtown. I don't know. There's people have property rights, and if they want to maintain a vacant building for whatever reason and they maintain it and it's not a blight and it's not a safety hazard, they shouldn't be fined. So I'm not a proponent of this ordinance, but it's an ordinance. If we have to enforce it, I guess we have to enforce it. But again, I'm not even sure it's enforceable, given that on its face it talks about specific things you can do to be a blight, and yet a bunch of everything is the blight.
And
there's some of them with for sale buildings, the ones that have for sale signs, they're blights.
Yeah, there's I know there were buildings downtown where we had the entire building was full of paper goods, paper products, and there was and I know that's like something like a fire hazard thing. Then we had one building that had a breakout of rodents and going into the businesses next to it. That enforced that, right? So I think there was a lot of issues, and so I think the hope was that this would at least would not giving them the fee, just giving them the letter, having the relationship. The other part too was the registration with the city and having that two-way conversation. There was that piece of it. So there was all these layers of it to try to get them to get their buildings up to code, and then also it's either sell it or rent it. And I don't know what the outcome is. I don't know where we started in 2022 or 3 when this ordinance went in to today, if that has helped move the needle on this.
Yeah, and I understand taking care of rodent issues and taking care of fire hazards, and we can enforce that. But to have the government tell you, you need to do this with your building, that in no way will ever sit right with me. And if we can bring this ordinance back for more discussion, I'd love to do that.
So, there we go. So I was torn on this ordinance too a little bit on, I'll use you, Scott. You bought it, you pay the property taxes, it's yours to do with what you want. But there were some issues with, we didn't have current contacts. We had, like, I want to say there was a police issue, there was somebody in there we didn't know to contact. There were some issues, and this solves part of that as the current owner to have a contact reference, you know, if you're not there. And I will say that there were, you talked about Pleasanton and the business group came together. There were quite a few businesses that came together, Julie Douglas, there were some others that really kind of came down and talked about that they did want this to try and at least move people to doing something with their building. Whether that's for sale, whether that's to fix them up and rent them, whatever it was, there was a pretty good, just as a thing, there was a pretty good thing. But I was kind of,
and if they want to, if they want to form a voluntary association and eventually peer pressure, whatever it is, gets everybody to volunteer, that's fine. But to unilaterally come down and say you must do this. Again, I'd like to revisit this if it's something that we can do.
But but there is that fee waiver. All we're asking people to do is stay in communication with us. We're not forcing anything. We're asking them to maintain their building in a reasonable fashion. And if you do that, whatever you decide to do with the building, that's fine. But I understand.
This will be fine.
But there's also the fee waiver. I understand personal rights, but at some point we got to think about what's good for the community. If one of those buildings catches on fire, it's going to take the town.
If there's a fire hazard, let's deal with that. If there's a rodent issue, let's deal with that. But you don't blanket deal with all buildings under one thing.
It is a hard one because I've talked to you about this too. Where it's hard because to me it's somebody's property. They own the property, and then now we're coming in and telling them what they can and can't do with their property. And then there's the flip side of it to where you feel like you are in a downtown area. It does affect the people around you. So it is kind of a hard one, and that was the other question I put on there is it consistent with their state property rights and their due process requirements?
Yeah, we're not using eminent domain here. We're just
right, but it is like I said, it's a hard one.
I'm curious if it's enforceable. If someone pushes the issue, I wouldn't want to try to defend it.
I will just add to the mayor's question about has it worked. I think it was something like that. I did check, and clearly I wasn't here in 2020.
That was me, yeah.
Yeah. But my reading of this when I first got here is that there is a lot of discretion in this ordinance, specifically with your code enforcement officer, to do things or not do things based on how the interaction between the city and the property owner progresses. This is a fee, not a fine, and because it's a fee, not a fine, that's why it's lower than probably what you've seen in Pleasanton and other areas. We're not fining businesses. The fee is based on staff's calculated time once they enter into this plan to do this. It calls for the code enforcement officer to go out there so many times in a 6-month period. It calls for the fire marshal to go out there so many times in a 6-month period. So the way I read this is it is a mechanism to start the conversation to have the blight dealt with while not being so restrictive that we have to treat every case the same. It's an interaction. It's a conversation.
And if I remember, there was like 4 months of public hearings, and we kept bringing this ordinance back, and we kept tweaking it, and then we bring it back the next month, and we hold another public hearing to solicit public input.
We did have packed houses on that. I will say there was a lot of staff time spent on going to some of these buildings, consistently having to check on them and to do things with that. And I know that's why there was the fee structure instead of the fine structure, because you can't charge more than what it costs to actually have somebody go out there and do that. And so I think that was the decision, or the factor for the decision on that. So we hadn't seen this in a while, and I I didn't realize that it was coming up to make a decision on starting to enforce the fees or not. So when is that slated to come?
I don't have a date in mind.
Is that when we
But-
approve all the new fees for the year?
Well, essentially, it's taken us about a year to do each phase, right? We
Yeah.
adopted it in '23, we sent out the first letters in '24, we engaged in education in '25. So any time or no time, I mean, obviously you guys can direct me not to switch to an enforcement mode, but it seems like the next logical step. I'm having trouble with this ordinance being on the books and us doing nothing with it. The next step, logically, is we've done the education, now let's do the enforcement. And by enforcement, I mean soft enforcement. I'm not talking about going out and hammering people for things. I'm talking about using this as the mechanism to re-engage in that conversation about, we have a 30% vacancy rate downtown. We can do something to improve that.
So what, when you have talked to these business owners, like educating them and stuff, was there like any kind of response for them as far as, we just can't afford to right now, or like, has there been any movement with it conversation-wise?
The only experience I have with it is what Amy has told me, because Amy has been here for the whole thing, and she's been kind of spearheading that portion of it. And what she told me is in 2024, I think she was responsible for sending out those first batches of letters to all the business owners. And there were a few, she gave me a number, I want to say 3 or maybe 4, that actually complied. You got the letter, they had the conversation, they either put the building up for sale or did something to comply. So it wasn't a high number, but there was some compliance associated with that initial round of notification. So I don't know what the actual conversations were with the owners. I don't
The
know.
building owners that are actively renting are actively renting. There's building owners who have habitually not rented, and so that's part of the. That was part of the frustration. But we did get there was movement because Habitat moved into the end of Main Street with the big is it here? The trading post, yeah.
It
So
looks like the 49er Subarus.
and now 49er Subarus
And
is
across
now
the street is
got
gonna be
movement, and
something, so there may
so
be-
there has been movement, but it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back downtown. It feels like, and so anyway, yeah.
And we talked to
There's no
Amy-
decision on this. This is just discussion.
But
so.
and this is like kind of off, but we talked to Amy before about, she was looking into grants and stuff, maybe that can even be part of like.
Historic, she is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the update.
Can we?
Yes, you can. Excuse me.
Yeah, Vicki Ranke, I live in Angels Camp. This conversation, you can see, I don't usually get up, but this is really bothersome to me because all of a sudden now we're in controlling people's properties. I understand where you're coming from, I understand downtown, but those people own that property. And a lot of us moved up here because we like a little more freedom and we don't want the government telling us what to do. So I guess I just wanted to get up and express that. Please do not follow the lead of the rest of our state and control people, control their property. You know what? We're a small community. Those businesses are empty because nobody wants to do a business up here. There's no clientele. For example, Joni's was in town for quite a while. They're gone because they can't do business when there's no customers. So, we're kind of at a catch-22. What do? You build the population bigger here, which probably nobody wants, or do you let these businesses and these owners of the property do what they do, and if they choose not to make an income on it? The other things you talked about, if there's rats or there's already government policies about that kind of stuff. So anyway, I guess when I heard that we were starting to then tell people they're going to pay us because their property's not being rented or something, that's very concerning.
It's hard. And Johnny came here, and she came to a lot of meetings, and she wanted to work with the city, and she was also hoping more people would rent their storefronts, because if you don't have, enough
But
people
who wants to
coming.
come here and rent a storefront and lose money, you know?
It's the right, it's the chicken or the egg, like if we can fill all the, and it doesn't have to be even retail, but our own residents aren't going downtown to shop, and so if
There's no
they're not
place to go.
going, exactly.
Exactly,
There's no
but
place
we
to
remember
go.
the days when
Yeah.
there were more businesses downtown. When we first moved here, there were.
Yeah.
But they're gone because they can't make money in this small community. And we don't have any big box stores here in Calaveras County, so we lose out on a lot of money. So what do we think we're gonna do, harass the people who've been here?
No, and I definitely, I hear you on that, for sure.
So I just wanted to
yeah.
express my concern that we move up here to be kind of a freedom place, and we're hoping we can keep some of those state policies out of here. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a favor.
Yes,
About their public comment.
yes.
Anyway,
Okay,
bio break.
okay. Any other public comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to, you're making me laugh.
We're gonna get your steps in.
And I haven't been here in a while. We used to come often, but I haven't been here in a while. But I think we should focus on how we can bring people here, events or something, so they go shopping, so they want to come back, so they know that. Because we feel like it's dead here. And we come walking down here, you know, look at the stores, oh, this is gone, that's gone. It's very depreciating to us that live here too, right? So maybe we could focus on how do we get events or something here to bring people here and to want to come shopping here. I know you do, but
No, we don't. The Business
okay.
Association does. Or, yeah, the museum just had an event, and there's quite a bit of events downtown.
Well, I know, except for nothing's happening yet, so I don't have any ideas. I'm just trying to change the focus on some positive thing. I don't know what other cities do or whatever. That's all.
Yeah.
I just, you know, because the focus is on the owners of the buildings aren't renting them or whatever the reason is. But I'm sure they'd rent them if they had people you know, people that want to come in, open stores and bring people, you know, and then but we have to have an event. We have to be not an old town, but
yeah.
I understand, and I know one thing that won't fix the problem, and that is finding people the $2. That's not gonna fix anything.
Yeah, but like I said, that's why I was.
It's just putting the onus, and trying to put the onus on a few people who, you know,
they have a right.
if they're keeping the buildings up and keeping them safe, they don't need to get any fine.
And,
Yeah.
and the only other thing I
They're
can say to
spending money
that,
on that, they're spending money to keep their buildings in.
the only thing I can say to that is I think if I remember right, all you had to do was give name, contact, and what you were planning on doing over the next year. So if somebody wants to come in, if somebody comes into City Hall and says, I want to rent 1234 Main Street, now we have an address and a contact to give that person. It's not that you have to rent it or anything like that. It's just to give a general idea, at least what I'm remembering, of what you're wanting to do and that type of thing.
I thought I just heard that the exceptions were for sale sign in the window, or what was the other?
Or if you're remodeling or
Or
planning on renting.
currently under
Yeah.
construction. Yeah, those are the exceptions, so.
There's several fee waiver exceptions, and if somebody, my understanding of the ordinance, and again, I wasn't here when it happened, but if a building is identified as vacant, we contact the owners, they engage us in this plan, they pay the fee unless they comply with one of the exceptions, like they continue to cooperate with us and they put a for sale sign in the business. There's no fee associated with that because they're in compliance with the plan.
Or they maintain the building, there is no.
That's why I say there's a lot of discretion that the code enforcement has in this, and I want to say there are 7 or 8 categories of things that a business owner can do that would qualify for a fee exemption. So it's not about grabbing money. That's not what this is about. It's about trying to improve the downtown.
You got more public comment coming.
Okay.
Sage Scott, I live outside of Angels. I just like to say I'm thrilled by all this. I mean, you guys, I don't disagree with Vicky Renke lightly, so I share your concerns about the way that this could be abused. At the same time, I have a lot of friends that are trying to run businesses downtown, and they're in favor of something like this because bringing more people, forcing those people that don't live here, that clearly don't have much of an interest in trying to rent it. They're not trying to rent it. They're comfortable letting it sit there. I share your concerns about it being abused. At the same time, and that's why I'm glad that there's so many voices that are voices of caution. At the same time, I feel like I need to stand up and say what I know those business owners would say if they were here, which is, I think this is good, that you guys passed that back then, and you're thinking about gently nudging people in the right direction. And I think I'm just glad to hear both voices, and I just wanted to add one more in that direction. Enforce away a little bit, gently.
Thank you, Stacey.
Any other comments?
I think Alvin does.
Anyone online?
Yes, Alan?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you need to go. Right,
We're
okay,
just-
so there's no decision on this, so we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Oh, we are?
Bringing it back. All right, so we're moving on to item 9, city council reports. I'll start with Scott.
Let's see, I attended LAFCO, and we have a new executive director, so we did some policy changes, and we're kind of phasing in the new and out with the old, and that's pretty much all I got on that one. Kara might add something later.
Okay.
I attended the Sierra Hope ribbon cutting, and truly appreciate organizations such as that and other organizations that help those folks that aren't as fortunate as us. And it was well attended. And with Steve and it was well attended. CPPA, we have some good news. The energy efficiency program, what used to be every 3 years you could apply for a grant, a $30,000 grant. Now it's going to be on an annual basis. So, and it's not just streetlights. I mean, we could put in a grant to put energy efficient lighting in the firehouse and save. So, my only concern was, and they are going to talk with the smaller JPA members, CPPA is a Calaveras Public Power Authority. When Maloney's was put in, both Tuolumne County and Calaveras County got first preference. So we get an allotment of a kilowatts being generated from the power plant, which for every public agency truly reduces your PG&E rates almost in half to what a regular person is paying. A non-public agency. And one of the requirements is to put dollars aside for those agencies to be able to make their buildings more energy efficient. But because our rates are so low, sometimes there has to be a contribution because the payback has to be 10 or 15 years. And sometimes you can't see it with projects, but we've done some lighting projects. And I know some of the lights from the park were purchased through the Calaveras Public Power Authority. So that's good news.
We do charging stations?
I don't know if we could.
I know when I spoke to Amy about like some of the solar lights and
Right.
whatnot in the parking lot, part of the issue is it has to replace existing. Yeah, so I don't know about the charging stations if that would fall.
But lighting in the firehouse?
Definitely.
Or the police? I mean, could be.
Yes.
Or, changing to more energy efficient streetlights too. The next was, there was some talk a while ago, there are some, the CPPA is composed of 7 members, and there are 4 permanent members and 3 are at large, and there was a conversation about having people apply, other agencies apply. County Council doesn't like that, so we're just going to continue for those other agencies. We're a permanent member, along with Calaveras Unified, CCWD, and the county is the other permanent member. So they're still going to seek applications. But I think the best news for us is PG&E transports our power. And so we have to enter into a contract with PG&E to get our power to us. And it goes through Western. There's a whole convoluted, it's pretty interesting, really, how this all works. But PG&E has, for the last couple of years, been a formula-based, and the rates would skyrocket. I mean, we would have mid-year rate increases. And in this settlement agreement, PG&E is going to go back to a formula-based, one fee, and they believe that our rates are going to decrease. So that's good news. I know the way you budget is the best way to budget. You take an average. so that if we don't never get caught short-handed. But it looks like our rates are gonna drop substantially. They're gonna be substantially less than they are this year. And that goes for the members of the public, Steve. I wonder if it would be a good idea to reach out to Pioneer to see whether or not we can do a community choice aggregation presentation for our community.
Yeah, I did reach out to Pioneer
You did.
towards the end of last year,
You
and
did.
at the time they were at capacity. They
Right.
didn't have, they had too many projects going, but I can reach out to them again and see if things have changed.
Yeah, community choice aggregation is the ability for, and there are a number of cities, I'm not sure if counties are doing, but a number of cities that, and it's a voluntary choice on the part of each citizen, but this third party goes out and purchase. Now, on the surface, I don't understand how it works. That's why it'd be great to get a presentation. But they go out and purchase power at a cheaper rate than PG&E and sell you that power cheaper than you're paying PG&E. And you can opt in and out of it, but it would be good to hear a presentation, because for our local homeowners, it might be a way to reduce their PG&E rates. So, and thank you for the 300-page, no, it wasn't 300 pages, it was 256 COG meeting tomorrow night, along with this young man.
That'll be fun.
But I am done.
Okay, let's see, we had Utica, you wanna all have you do Utica?
Sure.
Okay, great. We attended League of Cities, I don't even remember when that was, last week?
22nd
Yep.
of January, 22nd, 21st.
I just took a couple of highlights. We talked about land use. We should all be reading and like update ourselves on our general plan. If you haven't in a while, I haven't. I'm going to go back and look at it. Look at land use, circulation, open space, optimal elements, our economic development, facilities, and service. It says update our CEQA documents, and then we should all read the book Little Hoover Commission that was recommended. As far as legal, make sure that our permits are not costing more than it costs to administer that. And I was thinking about that with that as like the new pool permit. I just want to check that one. Social media, AB 992 and SB 70. Those are two things we need to keep in front of, because it's best not to participate on others' accounts regarding agenda items or public posts regarding agenda items, because Brown Act violations. There was also something really interesting that I learned, urgent, and Will, I know you're hearing like God above us, but
You gonna do the
urgent agenda items after the agenda posts, you can add them on the agenda, which I just found out about, which I thought that was interesting, but people have been able to do that, and it's
You do a special meeting on the same night.
and you can also do a
as your-
special meeting on the same night as your regular meeting. You open both meetings at the same time, and then you can move forward and try to get things done. So we don't have to make special, like set a time another day or something. So I'm just,
And certain things can't be decided
Yeah.
out in a special meeting.
Yeah.
But if you open them at the same time, then they're tagged together, so it's a
very,
whole, I don't know.
very interesting.
It's something was
And
pretty
then
interesting.
lastly, July of 2026, this is for our new clerk, agendas have to also be translated into the top 3 languages spoken in your city. That's SB 707.
Yeah.
I looked at our top 3. It was English, Spanish, and German.
I know, we Googled that.
I would
Yeah.
never have guessed that. I would never have guessed that. Financial, it says look at, they're telling everyone right now, look at your unfunded liability for fire departments, because everyone's kind of getting thrown for a loop for that right now. So what are we forecasting? And then reserves policy reviews, I don't know. And then one of the ones I thought was great, because this just came up for us, and was have a map with a circle around each council member's properties to help identify recusing issues. It's not like public consumption, it's just for us to have on hand, like if we have a question about something that we have to make a decision on, you can quickly refer to the map and know whether or not you are allowed to make that decision, because sometimes we just can't. So, and then we looked at effective city council and city managers, collective goal setting. So I think that's what I'm going to do for each of you, is I'm going to contact each of you and find out what your goals are for this year. And then clear guidelines for county staff's communications, which we have in place. Focus on good governance and civility, which we also possess. And working, this one was interesting, and I wish Susan was still here. Working with school boards and superintendents of schools, we should be collaborating with them a little bit more. So that's my takeaway with that. I also went to the ACBA DAC Mixer, and I went to the museum's bootlegger event on Sunday. I'm done talking.
I liked it when the mayor went last.
Oh, sorry, I know, right? Just going right in line. Next, Kara.
Because she took, not all of it, because I was not as detailed as her as far as the League of Cities, but she did highlight on some of those areas, so yes, it was very
I
informative.
took a lot of notes that only I can read.
Yes, I have been actually referencing it constantly because I have the apps for all of it. So, yeah, I've got nothing on that because you pretty much covered all that. With the exception of you didn't mention the fact that we have attention span less than a goldfish.
Oh, that's true. You wanna know?
Who does?
Everyone.
We do.
We as society.
And then Gen X only has a 1.3 second attention span.
Yeah.
How do you know goldfish have short attention spans?
I don't know, it's only
How do you
9
measure
seconds
that?
and I only have 8.
Because he must have a.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So yes, you did a great job covering that. It was actually very informative, I felt like.
It was.
Who times the goldfish?
And the law and ethics was big. I felt like there was a lot of things. I'm like, oh.
We did get our ethics and legal certificate done. I didn't get it in the mail yet, but we did do it.
Yeah, we did get that finished. So when Caroline posted something the other day, I'm like, oh, I cannot like that.
Oh yeah, I went to the Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday.
Yes.
That was the other thing.
And so Scott mentioned we have a new executive officer for LAFCO. We had our LAFCO meeting last Monday. And so yes, there'll be lots of changes there. We appointed our new, what are they? Executive director? No, it's not the executive director, but Gary Toffanelli is the chair and our vice chair.
Yeah.
I think they pretty much stayed the same.
And
And
Amanda flipped, they just two flipped?
no, it wasn't Amanda, it's Anita.
Oh, Anita, okay. Anita.
Yeah. So we had that, and also, I feel like there was something else. We did go to the Bootleggers. Bootleggers was really exciting. We got to tour the hotel. That was really fun. I didn't realize they were actually still working on the hotel, so that was actually very interesting. Because I thought it was like kind of paused.
Yeah.
So it was nice to take a tour of that and see if there's progress being made, because I do think that's going to be a big part of downtown, honestly. So, what was that?
To revitalize, yes.
Oh yeah, I
that'd be
think
a
that
place
that
to
could
go.
be huge.
Golf cart access.
Golf court access.
There's been a lot of I've heard these things. Is there, like, can you give any?
With the Sonora shut
Well,
down.
what's crazy is
Timeline?
I honestly didn't think that there, because the windows are all like closed off, so I didn't know that there was,
Don't count Perro out.
what?
He's a busy boy, yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
and after having, having a stroke a year ago, I was very impressed. We got to go and see like just the, what is it, like they have
They have the storefronts.
The salon, the
Yeah.
storefronts, the restaurant, they've got a bar in for where the
The
restaurant.
tavern underneath.
Uh-huh, and.
Workout
You
gym.
had your time.
I know. Just trying to ask me.
Just kidding. The gym, they have a big conference room
Yeah.
that they're putting in. And yes, they have I love how the bar is always just there. And then they're gonna have like a whiskey, is it like a whiskey lounge? That's all framed in and stuff. And like I said, they have the bar for the restaurant put in. And then there'll be an area in the back for people to have like a private party back there. Then you go up, they've already got the rooms kind of all dialed in.
12 rooms, right? Or 9?
24, I heard.
No, I think he downsized
No, it
it.
had to be downsized for the.
I think there was 20.
I got battered by that.
I saw
21 or something.
I saw
20 something
22.
down to
I saw
19 or
22
12.
at the very end on the
Maybe.
left-hand side.
Maybe
It
it
was
was
22.
22.
So it looked really neat, and I love how
They're framed, the rooms are framed.
yeah, and I love how you can actually look down. You'll be able to look down into the lobby area. So I think that was probably for me one of the most exciting things about the bootlegging event, which was nice, but that was very exciting to see that there is. So I did commend Pero. I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so excited to see this movement.
Any anticipated completion, or what are they saying? What's the projection?
Well, they're finishing up a hotel, it sounds like, in Croatia.
Oh, okay.
And I did say we'd love to talk and see how we can.
We were told 18 to 2 years.
18
18 months.
18 months.
18 months to 2 years to get the storefronts done. Then they'll work on the hotel rooms after that.
But, and then Marianne did ask us if we know of anyone looking for space. I mean, I don't know if it's because they want to try to cater to those people looking for the space.
Right.
But she did say if you know of anybody that like has the salon or has any of that kind of stuff to to put them in touch because they'd like to,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that was fun. And I think that was really it, honestly. I think that Caroline did a good job of that. I think that was, yeah. It's only events.
Okay. I also attended the Council Member Academy. I had left early. I got awesomely sick. But there were some things like that bind us all together, whether you're big city, small city, LA or us. You know, everybody's looking at infrastructure, housing, wages, and thriving downtown, and we all have the same interest in it. I'm a little, I think you were, either way. There was some fiscally tough times maybe coming at us, sales tax, TOT down, so I'm kind of interested in mid-year stuff, and the hair on the back of my neck stands up a little bit, so. So either way, that was really good. I enjoyed my time there and learned quite a bit, and Caroline hit on SB 707, add agenda items. She hit on everything that I had down too. We also had the Utica water meeting, which is our first new meeting with Eric. Caroline is chair, Eric Bottomley's vice chair. Who else?
Bruce is.
Bruce is secretary. We did our things there. We had a mid-year budget there. Everything's on track at the moment, so we're good with that. I'm trying to think what else. That was about it. Mid-year budget, adopt a resolution. Oh, Dave Andrus, we're giving him a letter of appreciation for serving 3 different times. I think one when Minkler went to CCWD, and then we got Steve, and Steve passed away, and then when Joel left, so I think he's on his 3rd time. So just had a really good, and we've had really good luck with Dave, so that was very nice too. That's all we got.
I did forget to mention, just remind me, I did forget to mention, at the last Board of Supervisor meeting, they did recognize, I think I told you guys, Tony Tyrell got Lifetime Achievement Award for LAFCO. And the CEO there had pointed out, this is a big deal, because this is 40, we have 48 counties, but he got that out of 48 counties, so that he was recognized with that, so that was really special to watch him go up with the Board of Supervisors, as well as the retirement of John. So Caroline was there for those things, so that was kind of fun too.
Yeah, I spoke to, or just mentioned some things to Tony on behalf of the city, and thanked him for his years of service.
He's an amazing man.
Yeah.
He is.
Yep.
Just don't take him to lunch, because he doesn't eat everything.
Hang on to your wallet.
Hang on to your wallet, because he's not going to open it.
And I need him around a while, because he still does a lot for the Veterans District.
my
So
Well, he said he wanted another 10 years.
he did, and I'm happy with
He'll
that.
probably
Would
get
love
it.
that. All right. And then City Council, no, we have, sorry, correspondence. There was a letter that I signed to CCWD.
Oh, to shift.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that you
on behalf of supporting CCWD.
I think I mentioned at the last council meeting, but the timing of it is the packet had already been produced.
Right.
So this is just catching up, official notification that the mayor signed a letter.
And this was CCWD asking us to do this, and they got it to us like within 24 hours of it needing to be signed.
It was a very quick turnaround, yeah.
I just would love for that not to be the norm with them.
No, it's not just him, it's Amy.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Okay, so then the calendar.
So you have February and March in here. You have COG tomorrow. You have COG tomorrow, that's right, your big packet.
Yeah, my big packet.
Sounds nice.
We have planning committee next Thursday on the 12th, and then a holiday on the 16th, and city council meeting, our next one will be the 17th, and that's where we will present the mid-year budget, and there was one other.
It was the update on the advanced EMT program, the water tender from the fire department, and a couple other items.
Good.
So we're doing pizza. It's going to be a long one.
We're trying to not schedule anything other than the mid-year.
Yeah, because the
it's
mid-year's
gonna
big
take a
enough.
while, yeah. So we're trying to keep that one light.
Michelle, what time are the COG CAG meetings?
6.
6 o'clock at night?
Oh, the TAC? Never mind.
The TAC?
Those are during the
During the day?
Yeah, I go to those there, I think 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
And then CSET on the 19th and UWPA on the 24th.
I don't do that one, right?
No.
Not for a while, right? Okay.
And then looking at March, saying we have the council meeting on the 3rd and the 17th, COG on the 4th, planning committee, LAFCO on the 16th, and CPPA on the 18th.
I think it's in April. You might want to
Is
check,
it
kid.
April?
I
Okay.
think so,
Wait,
kid.
note down here.
Which one's April?
The CPPA.
Is it every other month
No, it's every,
or once a quarter?
it's, yeah, once a quarter.
Okay. And then UWPA.
April,
on the
July.
24th. And no holidays in March.
I know.
I know. They're hitting the dry spell now.
2 months leading into
Except my birthday's in that month.
Well, there's a holiday.
That's a holiday.
And
It's
we'll be
Mary's
here.
birthday.
And we'll be here. It'll be great.
That was the same
Such a
with
good
me
day.
last year.
I know.
Your birthday's the 17th?
Yep.
Mine's the 18th.
I know, remember?
Yeah, I do.
We're both Pisces. Okay, so moving on to future agenda items. I just put here, update on the redundant water source findings and study, because you brought that up.
And that's it, because we have 2 big ones.
We do.
So, Steve, would this be, when I spoke with you earlier, would that be something for a future agenda item?
Yeah, I can put it down, sure. I think, I would want to talk with Will, our attorney, about it, but yeah, we'll definitely put that down.
Okay.
So then for,
I had just asked, just out of curiosity, if it's possible to pull management or look into pulling management out of CalPERS, what that would look like if it's possible.
And any start date yet for our clerk? Do we have any update on that position?
I have a second interview with one of the finalists on Thursday.
Okay.
So I'm looking at a possibly the February 17th council meeting for the agreement, if not February 17th, March 3rd. So we've had the interviews, we've narrowed it down to about 2. Another interview on Thursday with the finalists, so I'm hoping February 17th to bring an agreement to you.
Okay.
And we're fully staffed with Public Works now, or
We're
almost?
fully staffed plus 1.
Yay!
Yeah.
Because we have the
Good.
CCWD retiree
Right.
that is helping train the new guys. Yes.
So I will throw out real quick, like that CCWD retiree spoke up. I saw him and said it's an amazing staff that we have.
Nice.
The amount of things that they do, not just water, sewer, park and recs, blowing, leaf blowing. I mean, everything they do a tremendous amount of jobs. So either way, just he gave a compliment to that. I would love to throw on a future agenda item, or whatever fits in. Let's bring that vacant building ordinance enforcement forward. And what was the other thing I wanted? Oh, the kitchen at the park. I want to look at that, like to get painted or
I
something.
think that's in the works.
Is it?
It was in the report.
It was in the report, and I just want to.
I think they've started the prep work. They are going to paint it, so they're on it.
Yeah, they were doing the scraping and the
Yeah.
stuff.
Can I just confirm the future vacant building ordinance, bring it back for
enforcement on what we're gonna, our
How we're
fines.
gonna
How we're gonna enforce
How we're
it.
gonna, right, because that's what
Okay.
we have to decide. We
not an amendment to the ordinance,
Not
just
an
an
amendment.
update on the enforcement.
Do we have to, my question being is, do we have to vote on the enforcement, or when are we going to, when do we want to draw that line of that we're going to start enforcement, right, is what I was gathering tonight.
Okay.
Any future agenda items? Mr. Bowling?
I'm just sitting here in amazement, you know, I could be watching an old Johnny Carson show.
Anyone
I'm
online?
here.
Anyone
What is
online?
it, the Swami?
Okay,
You
yeah.
remember?
Hearing none. All right,
We've been watching.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we stay for a little bit longer?
She wants a roll call.
You don't need a roll call for that, so the meeting's over, you're too
Oh,
late.
I was told I just have to do a roll call.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Shemente,
I respond.
Sharado,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Anyway, buddy.
Gloria.
Aye.
Thank you.